Hey there, my name is Przemek, and today I got for you two reviews of two albums that don't have really much in common. There isn't any particular line connecting them. These are just two albums I thought it is worth to talk about today. And these are The Joy of Nature and The Spectral World of The Joy of Nature, and TONG Mass. Let's begin with this one. The Spectral World of the Joy of Nature. The end of an era. Although, let's be honest, probably it's the end of an era for a dozen or so people in the world, including me, of course. After 21 years, if I count correctly, and a dozen or so albums, this journey of the Joy of Nature has come to an end. The Spectral World of the Joy of Nature is the project's last album, and after its release the project has ceased its existence. The cycle is now complete, as it is written here inside the digipack. I accompanied and supported the Portuguese project practically from the very beginning, from the album The Fog That Life is Haunted By from 2003. I talk about this album in my top 50 favorite dark deep ambient albums series, because although The Joy of Nature is basically a project, generally speaking, folk or neo-folk, that debut was very much infused or saturated with deep ethereal ambient. On other albums, Luis Couto's project went more into folk direction, but at the same time, as one of the very few on the scene, he managed to develop his own unique style. There's really no way to confuse The Joy of Nature with any other project or band. Musically, it's one thing, but also when it comes to their presence on the scene, The Joy of Nature has always stood somewhere on the side, I would say, not getting involved in any groups, discussions, dispute, or whatever. He was just doing his thing. Maybe that's one of the reasons why The Joy of Nature is not mentioned among the top artists of the genre today. But on the other hand, you can say that Luis Couto has always followed his heart without trying to suck up to anyone, and that's why this project has its own soul, has its own character. This album was released by the Portuguese label Antidemocracia. I've never heard of it, to be honest, and it looks like it's been active since the 90s. However, from what I've seen on Discogs, it focuses mainly on the Portuguese scene and having only a few albums from the artists from other countries. And I don't know the vast majority of the musicians releasing for this Antidemocracia. I know Sigmar Flicke, but he's German. The album itself looks like this. It's limited to 40 copies only, and those graphics on the cover and inside are by Susana Mota. They look like something from a children's book with fairy tales, and musically it is still the folk phase of The Joy of Nature, but in this specific, slightly dreamlike style. The basis is always acoustic guitar, often supported by zither, cymbals, and bells, or flute, and sometimes also some ethnic percussions. and of course Luis Couto voice, very delicate and soothing, even in those more dynamic compositions. Sometimes the album is also delicately touched with some electronics, and it is always so fragile, giving the impression that if you if you touch this music, it would evaporate or break into a million tiny pieces or dissolve in the air. The complete opposition of, for example, German neo-folk, which is usually, hard and rough, so that even when played acoustically, it still often sounds like some kind of marching music. Yeah, I know I'm generalizing a bit, but you know what I mean. The Joy of Nature has more grace, in my opinion, and this music flows with more charm. It's something heavily infected with psychedelic weirdness also, but in contrast to British psychedelic colleagues, there's also more southern sun and warm summer rain here, and the album is crowned with the 13 minutes composition that it is kind of coda to the entire work of The Joy of Nature. It is called Suspended Time, and it is the return to ambient moods, although still with a folk subtext. And the leading motif on this composition is played on theremin, I think. I'm not sure, but I think it's theremin, and it is like a canvas where all the other instruments used on the album appear and disappear for a moment. Guitar, bass, flute, zither, cymbals, also field recordings, and this is very beautiful. But cats are going crazy again. Suspended Time is very beautiful, but also kind of a bittersweet summary of the entire work of The Joy of Nature. What else I could say? Farewell, The Joy of Nature. It was a pleasure to follow the progress of this project, and I will miss it, but I will definitely return to this album and the older ones as well. The Spectral World of The Joy of Nature.
This is the right time to search for butterflies in your eyes. This is the right time to search for fireflies in your hair. Dragonflies and unicorns pass like clouds through the night. Fireflies and dragonflies hide beneath your pale white skin.
Yeah, and the second one I would like to talk about today is this one, TONG Mass. It's a 2 CD edition by this Swiss project, and it's a project from Chris Sigel, active on the scene since 2005, and with several dozen albums to his credit. And TONG's music is located somewhere at the intersection of ambient, experimental, and music concrete. I admit I don't know all the works of the project, but of those I do know. I like some of them. I like quite much. Some of them are a little bit less, but I especially appreciate those with the those were this experimental spirit of the artist is not overshadowing this purely musical aspect, and this can be certainly told about Mass, because it is fresh, original music, not devoid of sonic exploration and experimentation, but at the same time simply very pleasant to listen to. These are actually 2 CDs with the compositions from 2 sessions from 2022. Sorry. One session from 2022 and the second one from 2023. The album was released by Zoharum Records, and as Zoharum writes, each of these 2 CDs could successfully exist as a separate publication, but together they form a coherent whole. Normally I don't do this, and I always try to discuss the albums as a whole, but in this case each track is a slightly different story, so maybe I just tell you briefly about each of those 6 compositions, which are quite long, ranging from 6 to 21 minutes. And the album looks like this. You see skulls and more skulls, and also here there are skulls, Mexican style this time, and there's also a photo of a girl. Does she have a bone decoration on her head? I don't know what it is called. A garland, I think. Never mind. Let's get to the music. The first CD opens with a fine layer of dust based on delicate guitar phrases and murmuring vocals. There's a lot of space here, and each guitar sound has enough time to properly resonate. And later some more ambient-like soundscapes appear, although also probably generated by the guitar, which is, I think, I would say this track, despite its ambient character, is getting close to the post-rock aesthetics. Maybe also a bit to what Glitch and Baraka do on their Trome or Mirror 3 albums, especially this second part of the track, where this experimental style comes to the fore more noticeably. And the second track is called Lightbulb, Ich setz mich durch. And its beginning is more airy and delicate. It's a deep yet ethereal ambient, although again with the guitar in the leading role. And I would say it's kind of a cosmic journey through celestial spheres, where you can observe nebula shimmering with all possible colors. It's a very escapist and imagination stirring composition. And the third track on this disc one is Goddess of Light, still melancholic and dreamy, but based more on drones than pure guitar chords or sequences. Somewhere in the background you can notice a subtle tribal rhythm, and again a spoken word, strange as if soulless, like spoken by a robot, and it stands in opposition to this quite spiritual music, I would say. It's a very interesting contrast and interesting composition in general. The second disc and the second session recorded a year later, and it begins with The Long Lost View. And if you're here on my channel for the first time and you would like to know what kind of ambient is my favorite, Well, check then my list of top 50 favorite dark deep ambient albums, which you can find on my channel. But if you want the answer in a nutshell, just listen to the Long Lost View, because that's exactly it. Slowly evolving, overlapping drones, very atmospheric, a bit reminiscent of Arctic moods, quite an isolationist atmosphere, even despite once again using the vocals. And later on in this track, this called Bliss gives away to some sonic experimentation, reminding me a bit of Coil maybe. Overall, it's probably the best track on Mass, and the longest, by the way. It's 21 minutes. The second one is Rendlesham Forest. And this one, on the other hand, has something strangely serene about it, like reminiscent of some vague memory of some pleasant moment from your life, filtered through the imperfection of memory, slightly distorted, but still quite nice. Also some high-pitched sounds creep in here, though I don't know if they are generated by guitars or some other devices, or some pedals maybe. And the last track is The Sky is Black. And in this one, synth arpeggios emerge from the drone waves, which is quite unexpected, and it's kind of awakening the spirit of the Berlin School looming somewhere on the horizon. And this track, also despite its dark, deep ambient, grey clouded, or rather black skied character, also breathes with some delicate light and hope. And I think that of all the TONG albums I have heard so far, this one I like the most. It's the one that most closely matches my personal taste in ambient music. Deep, multi-layered, and not devoid of emotions, which is also often quite important to me. And what else I would say? From all latest Zoharum Records releases, I think this one is the best one in the recent months. Oh, of course, at least in my opinion. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you soon.